Hello and welcome to the Roku Streaming Stick Impressions video. This video will show you what the Roku Streaming Stick is, what apps it supports, and finally I will show you some video showing you how it works and what it looks like when you use it to play back content. The Roku Streaming Stick is a small wireless media playback device that is very similar to the Google Chromecast. Like the Chromecast, it is HDMI connected and powered via a micro USB port. The streaming stick supports ABGN wireless and has 256 megs of RAM. Unlike the Chromecast, which lacked a lot of content providers at its release, the Roku Streaming Stick offers all the apps, or channels as Roku calls them, that are available on the set-top box Rokus. This means you have access to a large variety of content, including all the major players that most people care about, such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Streaming, YouTube, Spotify, and even Pandora. It also supports Plex, which we will get back to in a little while. I had heard of the Roku Streaming Stick after reading something about it online, and what I was reading was a review of it, and during the review the author mentioned several times how slow the stick was. If you had read similar reports, I wanted to give you a first look at how fast the device starts up. Now, it's probably going to seem like it's going to take a really long time here, and it takes about 60 seconds for the thing to turn on. But if you think about it, normally as soon as you turn your TV on, the stick turns on with it, so you're really not going to notice it for everyday use. The video that you're seeing here was captured by me after the initial setup, when the stick needed to reboot after applying a firmware update. The setup is actually quite simple and is done using the remote that comes with it in conjunction with your computer. Very similar to how the Chromecast works, the Roku displays you a code that you have to enter into your account to tie the device to your account. While the setup is really simple, it does require you to sign up for an account with Roku, and I believe you must supply them with a valid credit card during the account setup, otherwise it won't let you. Next I want to show you how the playback works, starting with the YouTube channel. During the initial setup you also pick a list of channels that are displayed on the home screen, seen here. You simply navigate this menu using the directional arrows on the remote and then select the channel you want using the round purple button. I have to admit, I had played with some of the other channels before using the YouTube channel for the first time, and I was very surprised how terrible the YouTube channel was compared to a lot of the other apps. Every time you changed menus, the interface hung while loading. Searching was absolutely atrocious, as the app will try to load search results for every letter combination you enter, so that takes forever. The one redeeming quality is you can actually use your smartphone to search for videos and then cast them to your Roku stick, just like you can with your Google Chromecast. This fixes some of the issues that you have with searching or even using the YouTube app, but I also had issues where videos that I knew were in high def never switched from standard def to high def. The next channel we're going to look at is the Netflix channel, and very similar to the review that I had read previously, this channel actually does take quite a while to load. Unfortunately, it looks like the Netflix channel also currently does not support the recently implemented Netflix profiles, so if you have multiple profiles, I don't think you can see them. It does, however, ask you if you want the kids version of Netflix or the regular version of Netflix once you're actually in the app. Overall, I thought the interface was very nice and playback worked very well, with content switching from standard def to high def a few seconds into each show. The artwork for each selection was slow to load, but that is to be expected for a small device such as this. Finally, I wanted to see if I could use the Roku Streaming Stick to play back content that I have on my local network. The Chromecast at inception did not work like that, though I think after Google released the SDK, there are now applications out there that let you do this. While there are quite a few apps in the channel store that allow you to stream content using DLNA, I tried quite a few of them and really found that none of them worked particularly well. And since all the other apps required you to run some sort of DLNA transcoder, I finally just said, you know what, let me just try Plex, and after an hour of tinkering with it, I was pleasantly surprised how well it actually ended up working for me. With Plex, you basically have to scrape your entire library into the Plex server, which in this case was my desktop on the local network. My NAS actually has a Plex app for it, but the NAS doesn't have enough processing power to transcode the videos, or even really scrape the library for files for that matter. There's a handy list on the Plex website for NASes that support Plex if you're interested in seeing if your NAS supports it and if it's powerful enough to run it. Once you scrape all your files to the library, the channel on your Roku will automatically discover your Plex server and display the content of your library. From there, you can simply browse your library, similarly how XBMC would let you, and then you can play back any videos that are in your library. If the Roku cannot natively play them back, Plex will automatically transcode the videos for you, including the subtitles if there are any. As in all my other videos, I'm using Easy A and Eden of the East for demonstrations so you can compare how they look against other devices I have reviewed. Fast forwarding and rewinding also worked very well, only taking a little bit of time before the video started again.
Thankfully, we're the much less intimidating.
Give it up for the Woodchucks!
Honestly, overall, I was very impressed how Plex worked and how speedy it was on this little device. So as always, the final question is, should you buy one of these? The Roku does cost $50, which is a little bit more, well, actually almost twice as much as the Google Chromecast, but it does offer you a lot more supported content, at least in my opinion. If you have any digital movies you redeemed on Ultraviolet, for example, this supports both Flixtra and Vudu, which you can use to redeem those Ultraviolet copies. While I have to admit that the YouTube channel pretty much sucks, allowing you to cast videos from your mobile device to the Roku just like the Chromecast would actually makes it a little bit easier to use, and it actually lessens the effect of the suckiness a little bit. And honestly, if you're running Plex, or if you already have Plex, the Roku is a good playback device if you're looking for something that just works without having to tinker with it too much. While the stick is by no means perfect, it definitely has its advantages, such as the vast array of channels, the remote that comes with it, and to sweeten the deal, Roku does give you some credits for MGO, which you can use to rent either a movie or a TV release. There are a couple other small idiosyncrasies, such as having to sign into almost all the apps separately, which can be a bit annoying during the first setup, but overall I think the Roku stick is pretty good. So those are my thoughts on the Roku Streaming Stick. If you have any comments, questions, or feedback, post in the comments below or visit my blog at xbmcstuff.tumblr.com. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.